The platform on which the performance will take place is perfectly round, lit from all sides by a dim light. A luminous wooden disc, it hovers in front of us like an object of meditation. The light brightens round its rim. The audience quietens. The performance is about to begin. Inferno Revisited.
Buongiorno, signore e signori. I am to be your guide on today's tour. Spero che questa gita sarà di vostro gradimento. I'm sure you'll find it very interesting and enjoyable. I must ask you to stay with me at all times and not to wander off on your own. It is a very desolate place and we wouldn't want to lose you. Right, if you'd all like to gather round. I hope you can all hear.
No, I can't quite catch it.
We're standing on a ridge of high ground overlooking hell. But don't worry, there are no flames now. No lost souls. A slight smell of burning, perhaps, but nothing else. You might say that hell has been cancelled due to lack of interest. There was a time when every gangster from the Pope downwards was to be found doing some sort of penance in this place. But over the past few years, well, there's just been no call for it. But anyhow, it makes an ideal place to visit for a day, even if you don't intend coming back for a longer stay. Plenty of relics and plenty of atmosphere, so we must get started. Yes, it is a little cold here, now the fire's gone out. The wind blows right up from the frozen lake of Cocytus in the depths of hell. But you'll see all that later on, I mustn't rush things. A lot of you probably realize, as we came through the dark wood, that it's where Dante is supposed to have met his guide. But before you ask me, there are no wild beasts there now. The cry you heard was only the old trees moving in the wind. Now, I can see that the ruin on the hill behind me is attracting some attention. A lot of you will have guessed already what it is. Let's move a little closer. Right, let's stop here. This huge black stone with a gaping mouth is no ordinary ruin. Look at the inscription over the arch. Lasciate ogni speranza voi che entrate. Abandon every hope, ye that enter. Yes, this is the gateway to hell. But there is no cause for alarm, ladies and gentlemen, I assure you. This way. You're too sensitive by far. It's just the stone. It has a strange echo. Really, I can't carry on with the tour unless you calm down and step this way. This is the gate of hell. You can't see the rest of the place unless you come through here. This way. This way.
This way to the city of pain. This way to the river of blood. This way, you thieves and gluttons, frauds and seducers. Stand in line and pay the price. must abandon every hope if you come this way. There's no turning back. You know that.
As though I'd woken, still as tired as before. Nothing. I feel only a sense of loss. No sight, no smell, no heartbeat, no blinking eyes or blood. I truly am in hell. Surely you expected something like this. Calm down. Yes. You can't go on a tour round hell without experiencing, well, just the slightest shiver down the spine. It's no more than a collection of strange echoes and a great deal of help from the imagination. Anyway, we've come through the gate now, so that's that. You know what it says. Abandon all hope. Now gather round me on the river bank. I don't want to shout over the noise of the water. We'll be crossing over in a minute. No, we won't be asking you to get your feet wet. You want to go back, don't you? Well, I'm afraid that would be difficult. There's nobody available to show you the way. And besides, you'll be missing so much, believe me. Anyway, as you probably realize, this river is the Acheron, the river of death. And before you get any morbid ideas, the red color of the water is due to tin deposits. Or so they say. The boat is over there behind the rock. Old, but solid enough. There's plenty of room for all of us. No Karen the ferryman here now, I'm afraid. No, you'll just have to put up with me. But I can assure you I'm an old hand at all this.
Slay. All is prepared. The tale of Minos and Charon's boat. This way to the eternal city of pain.
Here's the boat. Here's the boat. Would you rather swim? Come now, I know what I'm doing. We must get to the other side. What's the matter? There's nothing out there. It's difficult to see the other side with this mist, I know, but we must get across. There's no demon at the helm today. Believe me, you should be thankful that Charon's here. They say that one look into his flaming eyes puts you in a mortal terror. It was his job to ship the damned souls across the river of death.
Non isperate mai vederlo cielo. I come to ferry you across.
What's the matter? What are you looking at?
Nelle tenebre eterne, into the fire and frost.
Here's the boat. What's the matter? There's nothing out there. Come now, I know what I'm doing. Weather to turn on us. Still, we managed to get across. Hurry, or you'll get soaked. It'll soon pass. Nothing ever lasts that long. Notice how the rain disappears in a shower of tiny sparks as soon as it lands. They say there's some chemical in the soil that vaporizes the water. Best not to walk here in bare feet. It's easing off. The clouds are breaking up. Well, over us, but not over there. I see that you've been looking at that for some time, at the valley. It's strange, isn't it? The cloud never seems to leave it. Do you see the pillars of stone covering the valley floor? They call that valley Limbo. It is said, another one of those old wives' tales, I expect, but anyway, it is said that all the inhabitants of Limbo remained in a state of suspended animation, or whatever, for so long that they became petrified, turned into the stone pillars you can see today. At least with that cloud covering the valley floor, you can only see the tops of the pillars. Dismembered heads on white icing. If you shout across the valley, you get the most marvelous echo. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Here we are, shouting our heads off, and it's incredible. Here we are. This is the second circle of hell. In the old days, it was reserved for the lustful. Now all you can see are restless flocks of birds. They never land, just wheedle round between the hills. There's no need to worry, they'll just fly overhead. Ah, they're swooping back over the valley, no doubt returning to the city. One bird has stayed. It's whiter than the rest. More like a dove, I suppose. There was one spirit in the second circle of hell that was gentler than the rest. Francesca. Francesca. She had a lover in Florence. Paolo. Paolo was her husband's brother.
Ci sospinse quella lettura.
Love seized their hearts and brought them to death.
They were discovered.
They tried to escape.
Discovered.
Love.
Love.
That brought them to death.
They tried to escape.
That brought them to death.
Together in death.
Discovered. Discovered by her husband.
And killed.
So I'm to be plagued with a band of troublemakers. You want to go back? Look, you've paid your money, jumped on the ghost train. What do you expect? You enjoy it. I know that. Anyway, it's not as if there wasn't a let-up. Didn't we stop in the third circle for lunch? Didn't you enjoy the fruit from the dead trees? You gorged yourselves, like the gluttons that were there in the old days. Now you drag yourselves along like heavy sacks, pleading with me to go back. It is unfortunate that we mislaid a couple of you, last seen in each other's arms somewhere in the second circle, but you didn't seem too worried about it at the time. Now this is the sticks. In a moment. Ah, there we are. The two lights through the mist. It's the boatman. Yes, another employee of the Infernal Corporation. He's going to ferry us across to the city. I think it's time I made a small confession. You remember I said earlier that there was no fire left, no flames? Well, there has been a little trouble recently, a little eruption. Nothing to worry about, it's just that, well, we can't seem to snuff it out. It seems incredible, but then if it wasn't for these little oddities, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be interested. All the same, it does seem strange. There's so little air this far down that you'd think that nothing would burn. But then nothing gets consumed by these flames, they just dance. Look, over the prow. It is the city of Satan. It's mysterious. So much fire, so little light. If you were to look up there on the right tower, you could still see Medusa. No, don't look. You must not look, or you'll turn to stone like all the others. She is wailing. Only rarely is the darkness of hell displaced. Sometimes, quite by chance, sunlight shines down into the pit, and you see the place as it really is. But for now, we must get our eyes used to this dark. In a moment, we'll go through the gate into the city. Oh, do stop whimpering. Did you honestly think that a trip round the infernal pit would get you home before tea? You've been waiting long enough to come on this tour. You might at least enjoy it. It is oversubscribed, you know. That's more than could be said for the others. They've had to give up taking people round paradise. They just didn't seem to enjoy it. Now, you can't tell me you don't all love the blood and thunder, the helter-skelter, the wall of death, You love to see yourselves grotesque in warped mirrors, hear the loud music and climb on gaudy carousels. Just push the gate, it's open. Don't you want to see the bright lights and the ring of fire? Feel the chill of the dark encircling wood where the snap of a twig can sound like the kiss of death? Just push the gate. There's no turning back. You've all come too far. It's time you took your turn on the roller coaster. Here, let me. It is open. It's as if the lid has been lifted from a hive of bees. But there's no honey here. These hornets have no hope of that. No hope of anything but feeding their obsessions. Can you see the giant wheel reaching up into the black? Once it turned to cries of joy, but now it is a treadmill. It never stops. You remember the flock of birds back at the beginning of the trip? I said they'd most probably flown back to the city, but they're all settled over there on the carousel. Do you see that huge engine wheeling round in the fog? Can you see the rise and fall of the painted horses and the men on their backs? Look again. Not horses, but women. No, not even this is possible to bear in this place, for the wheel never stops. And down there, look at them. I taunted you for gorging on dead fruit, but they are eating money, feeling the dry paper on their tongues. Their guts are made of jangling coins, rising like a charmed snake to the windpipe. Twist, lick, touch, lick, kneel, racing, rat, racing, fall, splash, Skin, hit, every money. Click, touch, click, money. Lose, The sight appalls you, doesn't it? So it should. They're your fellows down there with their snouts in the loose change. Don't look at me like that. I'm only doing my job, showing you all this. You asked to see it. You paid to see it. Or you will do. Thieves! Hurry, you'll lose everything. We shouldn't have come this way. Quickly, they move so fast. They've seen us this way. Run! Well, what are you staring at? Move! Over here! No, the other way! Too late. Wait! Look! No. The light! The light has come! Can't you see the sunlight? They have seen it. They have seen the sun. Only rarely is the darkness of hell displaced. Sometimes, quite by chance, sunlight reaches down into the pit and you see hell as it really is. A sad collection of relics gathering dust in some dark corner of the underworld. And the lost souls? Their tears are cobwebs. Their hopes long abandoned the ravages of time. I suppose it's inevitable to lose a few of you. Yes, one or two of your fellows have taken the easy route back. During the light. An exit from the cellar back up to the front door. The quick way out. It's too late for all of you, though. Now, Now, you probably didn't see it before, but the center of the fairground is a large chasm with ditches spiraling down into the earth. We must find our way down further. There's a ledge here. Quite safe. But a little dark for your eyes, I'm afraid. Yes. There is something there. Have your eyes grown used to the dark? There are 5 of them, peering over the ditch. Bats the size of goats. Motionless. They could be part of the rock. I only have to clap my hands and they'll come flapping round our heads. They're used to me. Oh, no, you can't go back now. You're all too deeply involved. Anyway, you want your money's worth, don't you? You want to see Satan? They're all so still. We're not far from the bottom of the pit, the climax of the trip. Don't move. Even the sound of creeping flesh could disturb them. You'll be in the presence of Satan himself. Surely you won't back out now. No. Good! That's enough. That's enough. We wouldn't want to frighten them. You see, I've been down here with so many visitors over the years that, well, as you can see, I can deal with any situation. After all, I am here to look after you. And believe me, from now on, you're going to need a little help. It gets deeper and darker. And would you believe, colder. Surely you can feel the chilled air on your lips. Your breath hangs in the cold, locked in this freezer with the stale meat. This is the frozen lake of Cocytus. A web of cracks in the ice, the glistening trap of some gigantic spider. And look what he's caught. Heads just beneath the surface, faces turned upwards, eyes fixed in a stare. We must pass over the lake to reach the base of the pit. Don't worry, it won't give way, but try not to catch their eyes as you cross. Of course, you could say that these are not heads at all, just simply the rocks on the bed of the lake. You can think that, if you like, if you prefer to, like the Red River of Tin. They've all got perfectly good explanations, but it is difficult not to see their aching faces beneath the ice. Even if you could be bothered to listen, they could only whisper their agony, so don't let us waste time. We've almost reached the farthest point in hell, the domain of Satan. We're so close to the climax of the tour. This way, please. Why are you lagging so far behind? You must keep up. Do you mean to say that you've come this far and don't want to meet the master of this dungeon? Yes. Satan. The devil occupies the lowest part of hell, and we're almost there. Just one more ditch. You'd rather not? You'd rather not? Right. That's the end of the trip. I'm afraid a few of you have spoilt the outing by being, well, squeamish. Spoilt it for all the others. I can't say that it's been an... Ah, you've changed your mind. No, that's all right. I can finish then. Good. I was relying on that. Will you step this way? This is the center of hell. The center point of the spiraling pit. The center of the city of Satan. How could you ever have thought as you entered the gate or crossed the river of death that it would all come to this? The foul marsh of the Styx seemed like the center of the earth. But think how much further you've traveled since then. Through the noise of the city, down the black chasm. How could you have known? This is the deepest region of hell, the very house of the devil. And you are here, in this utter darkness. It seems to wrap around your eyes. Such blackness. There can be no distraction. Just a feeling of loss. Time ceases to matter. You are inanimate, no longer part of anything. Everything, your whole being listens. The words, black shrouds that close over your ears. You are utterly alone. And deep down in a back room of your brain, there remains one question.
In Inferno Revisited, which was written and composed by Peter Howell, the part of the guide was played by Alec McCowan. The tourists were members of the radio drama company, and the inhabitants of hell were sung by Sing Circle, conducted by Gregory Rose. The orchestra, Serenata Notturna, was conducted by Krish Rosmanis, and technical presentation was by Ted DeBono and Neil Pemberton. Inferno Revisited was produced at the BBC Radiophonic Workshop by Brian Hodgson and Peter Howell.